They came from the dark. The night sky was calm. Stars blinked above like they always did. People on Earth were busy with their lives, working, laughing, dreaming. No one knew what was coming. No one was ready. In a quiet lab in Alaska, a group of scientists stared at a screen. A strange signal had been coming from deep space for the last 5 hours. It wasn't a natural sound. It was too perfect, too smooth. Something intelligent had made it. "It's repeating," said Maya, the lead scientist. "Every 11 minutes. The others leaned closer. The signal was a mix of low pulses and high tones. It felt like a heartbeat. Something alive. Or watching. "Should we respond?" someone asked. Maya hesitated. No, not yet. But it was already too late. 6 days later, 3 large objects entered the solar system. They came from the direction of the Oort cloud far beyond Pluto. No engines, no radio, just silence and speed. They slowed near Jupiter and stopped. Still not sending messages, just waiting. Earth Space Command sent a scout ship. The ISA, Vanguard, with 6 crew members, was told to scan and report. It never came back. Earth panicked. More ships were sent. This time, warships. The X-Titan and X-Firestorm moved close, weapons ready. They scanned the black shapes. The alien ships were massive, 3 times bigger than anything humans had built. Their surface looked like liquid metal, but didn't reflect light. They had no windows, no doors, nothing. Commander Ryan from the Titan sent a message. "They're not responding. No movement. No power signature. Are they dead?" 10 seconds later, all screens went black. On Earth, every station that was watching the mission lost contact. The Titan and Firestorm had vanished. No explosion. No message. Just gone. Around the world, news spread fast. Aliens have arrived. Military ships missing. Prepare for contact. Governments held emergency meetings. People were told to stay calm. Some believed it was a test. Some thought it was fake news. But in space, something real was moving. On the moon base, a low-level technician named Jules was checking satellite feeds. One of the deep space cameras had caught something. He zoomed in, heart pounding. The alien ships had moved. Slowly, they were coming toward Earth. Maya, now working with the United Earth Space Agency, was called to analyze new data. She looked at the signal again, the same one from 6 days ago. Now, something had changed. It was no longer just a pattern. It was a code. "They're counting down," she whispered. "We have 32 hours. "Counting down to what?" asked the general next to her. She didn't answer. In orbit, small satellites began failing one by one. Communication blackouts started across Europe and Asia. Internet signals flickered. Airplanes turned back. Space stations lost control for a few seconds, and then Earth's defense system, the global satellite net, went offline. "This isn't a friendly visit," said the president during a live broadcast. "We are not alone. And they are not peaceful." At midnight, the sky over North America turned white. A beam of silent energy moved from the clouds and hit a military base in Nevada. It didn't explode. It erased. Everything inside, gone in seconds. Buildings, tanks, people. Only dust remained. In the morning, strange stories appeared on social media. People acting strange, walking in groups, not talking, just staring. One man filmed his wife standing outside for hours, eyes open, not blinking. When he spoke to her, she didn't answer. She just said one word: "Wait." Then she collapsed. On Mars, colonists saw everything through delay feed. They watched Earth fall into panic. And they knew they might be next. A secret message was sent to a man named Captain Rafe, once a hero of the lunar wars. He had disappeared 5 years ago. Many believed he was dead, but he wasn't. He was hiding, waiting for something. And now, it had come. Back on Earth, Maya sat in her lab staring at the signal. It was loud now, clear, Not just a message. It was pressing on her mind like a whisper she couldn't shake. "They're in our heads," she said softly. Suddenly, her assistant walked in. His eyes were wrong. Too wide. Too empty. "They are here," he said, not in his own voice. Maya froze. "Who are you?" she whispered. The assistant smiled slowly. "We are the silence, and you belong to us. The control begins." The sky over Earth was quiet again. No new beams, no strange lights. But something had changed. Something deep. People were different. They walked slower. They blinked less. Some stopped talking completely. Others stood, in crowds facing one direction, as if listening to something no one else could hear. Governments said it was panic behavior, stress, mass confusion. But in secret rooms, behind locked doors, leaders were afraid. Not just of the aliens. They were afraid of their own people. In a hidden lab under Greenland, Dr. Maya Hale stood in front of a large screen. Lines of code flowed like a river. But it wasn't computer code. It was brain data. Maya had studied neural signals her whole life. She understood how the human brain spoke to itself, how thoughts moved. But this was something else. She looked at the brain scan of a soldier who had collapsed after the Nevada attack. The scan showed strange waveforms, smooth, sharp, repeating. "This isn't human," she whispered. Her assistant, Lena, leaned closer. "You think it's from the aliens?" Maya nodded. "I think they're rewriting us." Miles away in a military base beneath the Swiss Alps, General Torres slammed his fist on the table. "We're losing people without firing a shot," he growled. "Our pilots are freezing mid-flight. Commanders are giving orders that make no sense. We've already lost 7 satellites, and the worst part? We don't know how." A nervous officer entered with a file. "Sir, you need to see this." Torres opened the file. Inside were reports from all over the world. Officers stood in middle of street, didn't move for 3 hours. Entire squad stopped talking, walked into the sea, never came back. Teacher whispered numbers all day, 1147 over and over. Torres dropped the paper. They're inside. On the edge of Mars Colony, a small mining station blinked to life. Deep inside, in an abandoned control room, an old man stared at a broken screen. Captain Rafe, long ago, he was a legend. Leader of the first off-world defense mission. Survivor of the Moon Rebellion. But after his last mission, he vanished. Some said he went mad. But he knew the truth. He had seen the early signs. Strange dreams. Whispers in space. A presence watching from the void. And now, it was here. A voice crackled over his old comms. "Unit, Rafe. This is Maya Hale. I need your help." He paused. "How did you find me? You're the only one left who knows how to fight what's coming." Back on Earth, the number of silent ones kept rising. People no longer needed orders. They moved in perfect sync, like insects, like a hive. The media stopped reporting the truth. News anchors smiled too much, said too little. Always the same words. Do not panic, do not resist. They are here to help. Maya knew the truth. They weren't helping. They were taking control. Slowly, silently. Not with war. With whispers. She worked night and day with a small team of trusted scientists. They lived underground now. Above, even air was dangerous. Something invisible in the signal. It didn't just carry sound. It carried control. On the moon base, resistance was building. Not soldiers. Not weapons. Ideas. Jules, the technician who first saw the alien ships move, had discovered something. When certain frequencies were played through old analog radios, people near the silent ones seemed to snap out of it. "It's like noise pulls them back," he said. "The aliens work through silence. We fight back with sound." They built small freedom packs, cheap radio devices that played random static and human music. Some people laughed. "You want to fight aliens with noise?" "Yes, Jules said. Because it's the only thing they can't control. Maya connected again with Rafe, this time through a secure line between Mars and Earth. They're not just trying to control minds, she told him. They're changing how humans think. How do you know? I scanned my own brain this morning. I saw it. They were already inside. Rafe was silent for a moment. Then he said something Maya wasn't ready to hear. Then you have less time than we thought. On a cold night in northern Russia, 3 alien ships appeared in the sky. No engines. No lights. They hovered, silent. Then, they dropped strange machines into the forest. Machines that crawled. Machines that hummed. Machines that whispered. Locals who went to investigate didn't come back. Those who did came back different. One boy, 14 years old, spoke only one sentence before falling into a coma. They are building a mind. Maya gathered her team. They're building a hive brain, she said. A global network using human minds as pieces. Each one they control becomes a node. Soon they won't need ships or weapons. The planet will obey without question. Someone asked, "How do we stop it?" Maya looked at the map, flashing red dots spreading across Earth. We cut the link, we break the signal, we find their brain, and destroy it. At that moment, in orbit above Earth, a new ship appeared, bigger than the others, blacker than night, and it pulsed, slow, deep, steady, like a heartbeat. Inside, no pilots, only a presence, ancient, watching, waiting, and listening. The resistance awakens. Darkness had fallen on Earth, not just in the sky, but in the hearts of its people. The alien ships hovered in silence, never speaking, never moving fast. But their presence was everywhere. Cities looked normal from the outside. People walked, worked, smiled. But inside, they were no longer themselves. Their minds were not free. At first, it was only a few. Now it was millions. In a cold and abandoned outpost beneath Titan's surface deep in Saturn's orbit, power flickered back to life. Broken screens glowed. Old systems hummed. The doors opened. Captain Rafe stepped out of the shadows. His body looked older now. His face had scars, but his eyes still burned with purpose. He had seen what was coming 10 years ago. No one believed him then. Now, it was too late for most, but not all. He looked at a map. Flashing red dots marked the controlled zones on Earth. One dot was blinking, in green. "Maya," he said quietly. He opened a dusty comms channel. Back on Earth, Dr. Maya Hale sat in a steel bunker beneath Antarctica's ice. She hadn't slept in 2 days. Her hands shook from caffeine and fear. Her team was small now, just 5 people. The rest had disappeared or changed. But Maya had found something. An ancient satellite, long lost in space, was still active. It was from a forgotten project, Sentinel. It was far beyond the alien ships, safe from their reach, and it could hear the signal. "We tracked the source," she told her team. "It's not coming from the ships." They stared at her. "Then where?" Someone asked. "From beyond Neptune," she said. "Something is hiding in the shadows." The comms unit cracked. A voice came through. "Maya." "It's Rafe." She froze. "How are you alive?" "I stayed off the grid, like you told me." Her heart skipped. "You saw it too, didn't you? Before anyone else?" "Yes," Rafe said. "And I know what we're dealing with. It's not just an invasion." "Then what is it?" "It's a harvest." Above Mars, at a secret repair station, a group of rogue engineers watched the Earth in silence. The blue planet looked calm. Peaceful, but they knew better. They had intercepted strange data. Human brainwave patterns were being copied and sent somewhere, maybe into the void. "They're not just controlling minds," said an engineer. "They're storing them." "Why?" asked another. No one answered. But Rafe had a theory. "They feed on thought," he said to Maya. "They grow stronger with fear, confusion, silence. They've done this before, on other worlds, We're just the next one. Maya leaned over a table filled with broken tech and old tools. We need to fight back. With what? Someone whispered. They're too big, too fast, we don't even know what they are. But Maya had already begun. She had found survivors. Humans who couldn't be controlled. Not many, but enough. Miners from Ceres. Deep-sea divers. Mars-born children. All had something in common. Long exposure to different radiation patterns. Their brains had changed. They were immune. We don't need an army, she said. We need minds they can't control. In a deep canyon on Mars, Rafe met a woman named Lyra, a former data pirate and rebel leader. She had built her own network of satellites and drones, watching the skies for years. You saw the blackout zones on Earth? Rafe asked. Lyra nodded. They're growing, like veins in a body. Can your drones get close? Close enough to die. Rafe gave her a drive. This has noise, unfiltered human noise, chaos, memory, pain, joy, all of it. They can't stand it. You want to use noise as a weapon? No, Rafe said. I want to remind people who they are. The plan was simple and insane. Broadcast powerful human signals, music, language, history, into the blackout zones using old satellites, hacked drones, and civilian radios. Wake them up. The first test began in a village in Argentina, completely silent for days. Maya's team dropped an old speaker tower nearby. They played a song, an old folk song full of laughter and fire. Nothing happened at first, but then a woman blinked. She looked around, confused. A child began to cry. A man shouted, "Where am I?" It worked. In space, the alien queen felt it, a ripple, a tear in the silence. She stirred. On Titan, Rafe trained his small crew of resistance, people who still had fire in their eyes. They didn't have fancy ships, but they had stolen tech, old guns, and courage. They began building stealth ships, small, fast, silent, designed to sneak past alien watchers and destroy their relay beacons. The first mission was called Ember, a team of 5. One goal, shut down the mine tower near Jupiter. The ship moved like a ghost. No lights, no heat signature, hidden in radiation belts. Inside, the team whispered, holding tight. Do you think they know we're coming? One asked. Rafe's voice came through their headsets. They will, but we'll be gone by then. On Earth, the blackout zones pulsed. People were waking up, and the aliens were getting angry. They started reacting, fast, sharp, violent. Swarms of machines flew into the skies, hunting the signal towers, destroying anything loud. They feared the sound. But the resistance had learned the truth. They were never strong. They were only quiet. Back in space, Ember Team reached the tower. It was massive. Floating like a black crystal, spinning slowly. One of them whispered, "What if it's alive?" "Then let's kill it," said the pilot. They planted the jammer and lit the spark. The explosion echoed across space. The mine tower cracked. Its pulse vanished. On Earth, millions screamed and woke up. The silence was broken. Stealing fire. The stars above were quiet, but something beneath them had started to burn. Resistance teams were rising. Sleeper zones were waking up. Small, broken voices had started to speak again, but the silence fought back. The aliens were learning, adapting. Every time a signal tower was built, it was destroyed faster. They no longer waited in the dark. Now they hunted. And still, the humans dared more. Because now, they had hope. Maya stood inside the underground Antarctica command hub, staring at the rotating hologram of a massive black alien vessel. "We call it the Crawler," she said. "It's been floating near Earth for weeks, but it hasn't moved. We think it's a hub, like a control center, or a mind relay." "We need to know what's inside," said Captain Rafe, now patched in through the Mars relay. "We need to know how they think, how they live, how they control us." "You mean steal their fire?" Maya asked. Rafe nodded. "Yes, just like the old myth. We take their knowledge, and we use it to end them." Operation Firehand was born. 3 ships, 6. Resistance members. 1 target. The crawler. The journey from Titan to Earth orbit was silent and slow. The stealth ships had no lights, no beacons. Even the crew whispered. Anything louder could trigger sensors. And no one knew exactly what the alien machines used to listen. Inside the lead ship was Dr. Ian, a neural linguist. He wasn't a soldier, not even a brave man, but he understood brainwaves like Maya did. And he had a strange gift. He heard the alien signal like music. And sometimes, he could almost understand it. Beside him sat Kyla, a former lunar commando. She didn't care about music. She was here to fight, kill, and bring the others back alive. Do you believe in God? Ewan asked her. I believe in bullets, she replied, loading her plasma knife. They reached the crawler's orbit 3 hours later. No movement, no defenses, no lights. It just hung in space, spinning slowly, its surface smooth like liquid. A port opened as they approached. A hole in the dark. It's inviting us in, Ian whispered. Kayla didn't like it. It's too easy. But they entered. Inside, the air was heavy. Not air exactly. Something thicker. Darker. Their suits filtered it, but their minds still felt it, a weight. A whisper. Stay focused, Kayla said. The walls pulsed gently like veins. Soft lights moved under the surface. No machines, no wires, just living metal. This ship is alive, Ian said, watching the walls shift slightly as they walked. Alive with what? Thought. They reached the central chamber. In the middle was a large crystal-like structure, floating above a pit of darkness. It hummed. Ewan stared at it, mesmerized. This is it, the memory node. How do you know? Because it's talking to me. He stepped closer, hand out. Kayla grabbed his arm. Don't. I have to. This is why I'm here. He touched it. A blinding flash. The others shouted, but Ewan didn't move. His mind was being pulled through space, across light, time, stars. He wasn't inside his body anymore. He was inside the hive. He saw other worlds, dead, empty. Their skies, filled with silent ships. He saw the alien queen, not a creature but a consciousness, cold, endless, ancient. She whispered in thought waves. You were not the first. Your fire is bright, but it will die. Your minds, we eat them. Your fear, it feeds us. Ewan screamed in his mind, but then he saw something else, a memory, a flash of a world that fought back. It looked human, but it wasn't Earth. They had resisted. They had almost won. We're not the first, he whispered, but we might be the last. Outside, Kayla watched as the crawler began to react. The walls turned red. Alien drones formed from the ceiling, silent shapes with long arms and no eyes. Wake up, Ian, she yelled, firing her pulse gun. Ewan collapsed, twitching. Kayla grabbed him and ran. Get to the ship, she shouted into comms. They're awake. One of the other teams never made it out. The crawlers swallowed their ship whole, but Kayla's team escaped just barely. The crawler didn't chase, it didn't need to. It had shown them what it wanted to show. Back at the Titan base, Ian lay in medical recovery, shaking. Maya stood over him. What did you see, she asked. They're building a planet mind, he said. Every person they take adds to it, like computers, but organic. Can we stop it? Ewan looked up, pale. Yes, but only with a virus. Computer virus? No, he said slowly. A memory virus. Something human, something painful, something they can't process. Like trauma? Yes, the worst kind. A scream so loud it echoes through their network and breaks their mind. They had stolen fire, but now they needed to use it. Maya, Rafe, and the others began planning. New signals, new missions, and a final assault on the Queen's signal core, hidden far beyond Neptune, where the signal had first begun. But the enemy was no longer sleeping. The silence had awakened, and it was coming. The first strike. The silence was ending. For weeks, Earth had lived like a dream. Streets full of people with empty eyes, their thoughts no longer their own. Machines drifted quietly through the skies. The world had surrendered without a single word spoken. But now, something had changed. A scream had entered the hive, and the hive had felt pain. In the Titan command center, the lights flickered as Dr. Maya Hale stared at the new readings. For the first time, the alien network wasn't expanding, and it was shrinking. Their signal has fractures, she whispered. The virus worked. We damaged their core. Captain Rafe's voice echoed through the room via secure comms. Then it's time. No more running. No more hiding. We hit back. Operation Phoenix had begun. On the edges of Saturn's orbit, resistance ships gathered, rusted, small, underpowered, but alive. Their hulls bore scars from old battles. Their weapons were mix-matched. Stolen tech, ancient missiles, electromagnetic cannons, and experimental sound jammers that burned with human static. Music, screams, laughter, and rage. One ship was called Echo, another, Freedom's Fire, and one, Revenant, flown by Rafe himself. They weren't part of any nation now. They flew as one flag. Human, Eoin, still weak from the hive link, sat inside the Bridge of Echo, surrounded by old neural gear. We found a weak spot in their relay system, he told the fleet. A control node near Uranus, one of their oldest. If we destroy it, their signal over half of Earth will collapse. What's guarding it? Asked Kayla, already checking her weapons. Nothing we've seen before, Ian said. Good. She smiled. I like surprises. The fleet jumped through deep space, not by warp, but through slingshots, risky boosts, and blindfolds. Human tech was old, but it was unpredictable. And unpredictability was something the hive didn't understand. They arrived near the control node, a structure larger than any human city. Black metal spikes floated around it, linked by lightning-like cables. No visible defenses, but the silence was watching. The battle began with a whisper. A pulse of sound from Echo jammed the nearest relay tower. At first, nothing happened. Then the sky exploded. Alien drones poured from the black surface like smoke. They weren't machines in the normal sense. They were shapes made of thought and metal, designed to adapt, evolve, erase. Form the ring, Rafe ordered. The fleet split into attack wings, each one flanking the control node. Rockets fired. Laser cannons flashed. Sound bombs boomed across the void, releasing bursts of chaotic frequencies. Crying babies, war drums, street music, poetry, screams. The drones reacted wildly, some breaking formation, some spinning out of control. They were strong, but the virus had made them vulnerable. Kayla and her fire team boarded a shattered platform on the edge of the node. Inside, they found rooms made of memory, not metal. Walls shifted like living dreams. Images from people's minds floated through the air, a mother saying goodbye, a soldier dying, a child laughing, a scream locked in a loop. They're storing our emotions, Kayla whispered. Like food. They placed charges. Let's starve them. On Echo, Ian was plugged into the hive again, only halfway, only by force. He was searching for the Queen. She knows we're here, he said. She's watching me. Then give her something to fear, Maya replied from Titan. What? Us. The charges blew. The relay node cracked, and so did the hive's hold. On Earth, millions of people gasped and fell to their knees. The silence lifted from their minds like smoke from cold fire. Some screamed, some cried, some ran, some remembered. But they were human again. The hive reacted instantly. 3 Queen-class ships appeared from deep space, not flying, but falling, pulled by pure gravity drive. Each one was the size of a small moon. They didn't fire weapons. They simply sent thought waves. You are chaos. You are noise. We bring peace. You will kneel. But this time, humanity screamed back on every channel. Hacked satellites broadcast a single message from the resistance. We are not yours. We are not weak. We are human, and we remember how to fight. The Queen ship surrounded the resistance fleet. Even with fractured signal, the hive was still stronger. Ships exploded. Fighters vanished. Hulls ripped open under psychic force. Inside, Revenant Rafe flew straight into the chaos. He opened the sound core, a device built by Maya using Eowyn's stolen hive code. He triggered it. The device released the deepest, loudest thing ever recorded, a black box recording of Earth's last stand. A soldier's death scream, a city's fall, a child's cry, and the final beating of a human heart. Pure trauma, raw humanity, pain. The Queen ships staggered. For the first time the silence screamed, and the scream was not human. The fleet fired everything, sound, metal, light, fury. The relay node collapsed. The Queen ships vanished, some destroyed, others fleeing into deep space. The battlefield went quiet. Quiet on Titan, Maya stood shaking. "We did it," she said. But Ian looked up, eyes wide. "No," he whispered. "We didn't kill the Queen." "What?" "That wasn't her. She's still out there, hiding beyond the edge of our system. Watching." Rafe's voice came through. "Then, we take the fight to her." Maya nodded. "We broke the chain," she said. "Next," Rafe growled, "we break the crown. The battle for Earth." Earth was no longer silent. Cities echoed with sirens, gunfire, and cries. People who had once walked like sleepwalkers were now running, shouting, fighting. The hive's control had cracked, but it wasn't broken. Yet the sky trembled as something massive moved above the clouds. They had come. 3 weeks after the fall of the relay node near Uranus, the Queen made her next move. A ship the size of a continent entered Earth's orbit, not flying but pressing down like a hand ready to crush. It didn't send drones, it didn't fire weapons. It sent a message, not with words, but with feeling. Everyone across the planet felt it at once, a heavy pressure in their chest, a whisper in their bones. "We gave you peace, and you chose pain. Now we bring silence, forever." In orbit, the remains of the resistance fleet regrouped, damaged, exhausted, but still flying. Captain Rafe stared at the Queen ship from the bridge of Revenant. "How do you fight something that big?" a pilot asked. Rafe didn't blink. "From the inside." On the surface, Dr. Maya Hale moved through the new Resistance HQ under the ruins of an old airport near Siberia. Civilian volunteers, students, engineers, doctors, were wiring together weapons made from scrap and music speakers. Every loudspeaker, stadium mic, and theater amp had been turned into a weapon. Sound, dart, raw, human sound. The only thing that hurt the hive. Eowyn sat in a corner, eyes red. He had seen too much. Too many memories pulled from the hive. Too many lives. He knew what was coming. "The Queen won't just attack," he said quietly. "She will become the planet. Merge with it. If we don't stop her now, Earth will turn into a hive mind forever." Maya nodded. "Then we stop her." "We have one chance," he said. "We go inside." The Queen's ship opened, not like a hatch but like a wound. Black structures fell from the sky, stabbing into cities like giant spikes. From them, thick fog spread, psychic mist that whispered and turned minds numb. People began to kneel again, not from control, from pressure, from fear. But this time, humanity didn't fall alone. In Tokyo, schoolchildren dragged speakers into the streets, blasting old rock music. In Lagos, elders told stories through open-air transmitters. In Detroit, old metalworkers turned their factory into a sound bomb maker. Every corner of the world rose, not with lasers, but with memory. At dawn, the Queen ship sent her armies, evolved. Drones, new forms, twisted copies of humans, faster, smarter, crueler. They dropped into cities. They didn't speak. They tore. But the people fought back. Militias with scavenged gear, soldiers using voice frequency rifles, hackers uploading emotional code into abandoned satellite dishes. This was not a war of firepower. This was a war of identity. Rafe, Maya, and Ian boarded a modified stealth ship, Arclight. They carried one device and the final version of the memory virus. Inside it were billions of moments from human history: love, war, poetry, grief, screams, birth, and death. If we reach her, braincore, Maya said, and play this, she'll feel everything she tried to erase, Ian added, and she won't survive it. The Arclight flew through the Queen's atmosphere, dense, black, full of screaming echoes. The ship shook. Inside, lights flickered. A voice spoke. From the walls, "You fear death, we offer peace. Why do you resist?" Rafe growled. "Because we are not yours." Inside the Queen ship, they saw it. The core, not a machine. A living network of minds. Millions of absorbed humans twisted together, pulsing like a giant brain. Their faces still flickered across the surface. Some still alive inside. Ewan fell. To his knees. "They're still in there." Maya stared, tears in her eyes. "We free them," she said. "Now." They placed the virus speaker at the edge of the core. Ewan activated it. First came silence. Then a heartbeat, then a scream. Then a million voices. The core began to shake. On the surface, the Queen let out her true voice for the first time, a high, horrible shriek that shattered windows and stopped hearts. But the humans didn't run. They screamed back. Mothers, fathers, children, old warriors, newborns. They all screamed because the hive had taken too much. And now humanity remembered everything. The Queen core cracked. The ship trembled. But she had one last trick. From the walls, black tentacles lashed out, wrapping around Rafe. "You are chaos," the Queen hissed inside his mind. "You are broken." Rafe grinned. "Maybe, but that's what makes us strong." He pulled a final switch. A backup speaker, hidden in his chest plate, exploded with one last sound. His daughter's laughter. Pure, human, real. The Queen screamed. The hive mind collapsed. All over the world, the fog vanished. The spikes cracked. The drones fell. And for the first time in years, the sky was blue again. Eowyn and Maya carried Rafe out. He was dying, but smiling. "Is it over?" he asked. Maya nodded. "She's gone," Rafe whispered. "Then we won." In the months that followed, humanity began to rebuild. The scars were deep. Many minds were never fully free. But the hive was gone. And in its place, something had returned. Freedom. A monument was built from the wreckage of the Queen ship, not to honor the war, but to honor the resistance. On it were engraved the final words broadcast across Earth during the battle. "We are the noise in the dark. We are the fire they tried to steal. We are not perfect, but we are human, and we fight." Breaking the chain. Earth was breathing again. The Queen was gone. Her ships, fallen. Her control, broken. For the first time in years, people woke up with their own thoughts. The silence had ended. But in deep space, something darker moved. Not the hive. Something older. Something that had created the hive. Dr. Maya Hale stared at the deep space scans in silence. She had hoped this war was over, that the death of the Queen would mean peace. But it was never about just her. A signal was still, pulsing at far beyond the solar system, faint, steady, ancient. "There's more," said Eowyn, his voice hollow. Maya nodded. She was never the first. In a hidden base on the edge of Mars, the surviving resistance leaders gathered. Captain Rafe's chair was empty. He had died, a hero. His memory burned into every human signal wave. Now, the final decision rested with those who lived. "We found the source," said Maya, showing them the data. "It's beyond the heliopause, deep space, a system we've never mapped." "Another hive?" someone asked. Eowyn shook his head. "No. The birthplace. The plan was simple and final. Send one ship, one team, take the last version of the memory virus, now upgraded, unstable, dangerous. find the source of the signal, and end it, once and for all. The ship was called Ember. Its hull was forged from scavenged hive metal and human tech. It carried one payload, a mind bomb, capable of releasing the entire emotional archive of Earth into the alien source. Inside were 6 passengers: Maya, the mind behind the resistance; Eowyn, the voice that touched the hive; Kayla, the soldier, who never ran; and 3 others, a Mars-born engineer, a blind communications officer, and a 10-year-old girl named Leia, the only child ever touched by the hive. And freed. She didn't speak much, but she remembered everything. The journey beyond the solar system took 17 days by experimental drive. Space twisted. Stars blinked and vanished. Time felt strange. Every night, the crew heard whispers, not from the ship, from inside themselves. "They're reaching in," said the blind comms officer, "through our thoughts, like shadows with memories." Ian said nothing, but he was already dreaming things that didn't belong to him. On day 18, they arrived. It wasn't a planet. It wasn't a station. It was a field. A vast, ancient structure. Floating in the dark, made of dead stars, broken ships, and fossilized mines. The hive root. Millions of minds trapped in it, frozen in eternal silence. This was where the Queen had been born, and others like her. "This place isn't just alive," said Ewan, trembling. "It's aware." Maya activated the bomb's core. They had 3 hours to find the root node and detonate. But the hive root didn't sleep. They entered through a gate made of memory. Every crew member saw a vision from their past. Maya saw the face of Rafe. Kayla saw the soldier she couldn't save. The engineer heard the voice of his dead father. Leia saw a future she didn't understand. None of it was real, but it all felt real. Deep inside the hive root, they reached a chamber of silence. No air, no time, just thought. There it was, the core. Not a machine, not a queen, a god mind, a being formed from billions of consumed species, one mind, one purpose. All chaos must become order. All life must become still. All fire must be quieted. "This is what made the hive," whispered Maya. "This is the beginning." Kayla raised her weapon. "Let's make it the end." But they were not alone. From the walls came figures, not drones. Copies. Copies of the crew. Same voices, same faces, same memories. Twisted versions built from stolen thought. "You will join," said the other Maya. "You already have," said the other Eowyn. The crew fought. Gunfire, plasma, fists, screams. But they were fighting themselves. Maya crawled toward the node. The bomb was in her hands. The voices were in her head. "You don't need to fight," they whispered. "Just sleep. Just forget. Just be still." But another voice broke through. Leia. Her small hand touched Maya's. "I remember my mother," she whispered. "They took her. They made me forget her name." A tear ran down her cheek. "But I remember now." Maya looked into her eyes. She pressed the detonator. The memory bomb exploded. Not with fire, but thought. A flood of emotion burst through the hive root. Joy, grief, love, fear, birth, death, hope, anger, sorrow, laughter. All of humanity. The core screamed, not in sound, but in collapse. For the first time, the god mind felt something it couldn't absorb. Meaning, and it began to die. The ship Ember was flung from the hive root just before the field collapsed in on itself, consumed by the very memories it had tried to erase for eternity. Maya woke up 3 days later, floating near Saturn, alive. Beside her, Leia slept. Eowyn was gone. Kayla was silent, eyes open, watching the stars. They had won, not just the war, but the right to be human. Months later, Earth was rebuilding again. Cities once broken were full of life. People talked loudly. Music played in the streets. Silence was no longer feared. It was simply a pause between songs. A monument stood on the moon now, built from hive metal and human. Stone on it was written, "They came to quiet our fire, but we burned louder. We are the noise. We are the chaos. We are humanity." And somewhere, in deep space, that echo remains, a warning and a promise.